I would call to order the Village of Westmont Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for September 9th, 2009. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Pill?
Here.
Commissioner Anton?
Here.
Commissioner Fleet is here. Chairman Richard?
Here. We have a quorum. We can conduct business. Would you please all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. While I have you standing, anybody that's going to testify either for or against any item tonight, you have to be sworn in. So if you please raise your right hand, I swear that any testimony I give this evening shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I do.
Consider yourself sworn in. I would ask that you silence all electronic devices, if you would please be so kind. The next order of business will be approval of the minutes of our August 12th meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Anton. Question on the motion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, first item of business tonight, Planning and Zoning Item 09019. Charlie Shalil of Site Enhancement Services with William J. Cohen of Speedway Super America regarding the property located at 6241 South Cass for the following. A, zoning code variance request to increase the number of allowable signs from 1 to 6. B, zoning code variance request to increase the maximum gross square footage of signage to approximately 165 square feet. Code permits 149 square feet. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, good evening. My name is Charlie Shalliel. I'm with Site Enhancement Services, here tonight representing the Speedway at 6241 South Cass.
If I may interrupt, Mr. Shalliel, I should have. You are aware, then, I'm presuming that for a variance request, you have to enunciate your hardships.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please do.
I will. First off, thank you for allowing me to come here and speak this evening. This is somewhat of a unique request because the variances that we're asking for are existing nonconformities. We're not looking to increase any of the existing nonconformities. We're looking, I guess, to maintain the existing nonconformities and make a small minor alteration to one of the existing signs on the property. Right now we have 6 signs on the property for 165 square feet total. We're looking to maintain the exact size, the exact shape, the exact signage that's currently there. The only thing that we are seeking to do is take the panel that displays the price and take it from a manual changeable copy, as you see in the bottom right hand. Wonderful.
Right here on this thing, that should
I'm never any good with these. There we go. In the bottom right hand corner of the page, we're looking to replace the portion that says 265, 264, and then has a cigarette price. And looking to modify that with what you see up here, which is a digital numeral system. These are individual figure 8 numerals. They don't have the ability to flash, blink, scroll, change, or display any other message than the text that you see right here. This is such a simplistic change that the cabinet doesn't even come off the sign. The framework stays up there. The face that says Speedway stays in place. The only thing we are looking to do with this variance application is to remove this panel and put up the new panel. There are a couple of advantages that we see here. First, it's a crisper and it's a sharper look. It's a modern look. We're looking to keep our people inside the station rather than out there with the suction cup stick, putting on the signs in the middle of winter. It has the ability to have a consistent read rather than, I guess, lost numerals or text, which can create confusion. The signs that are existing, we're just asking that they stay. They've been there for years. Speedway has functioned in the community as a commercial business in a C1 district for years. We're just looking for this modification. It's better, LED, it's more energy efficient, so on and so forth. Because this is kind of a unique situation, the hardships that we believe that we've met, property cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions. Existing nonconformity. If we were forced to take down all of our signs except one sign, likely the freestanding sign, this building and this business would lose a dramatic, I guess, the identification that they have within the community. The signs, we have 2 on the canopy on the north side, 2 on the south side, and then a logo box on what would be the front elevation. They've been there for years, as well as our freestanding sign. They've been there for years. We're just looking to maintain. It's a commercial business in a C1 district. We're just looking to maintain that.
Charlie, how long will you honor the 225.9 for regular there?
Well, for the commission, all year, not a problem.
Diesel too?
And we sell tires too, because I heard
Oh,
the
there you
conversation earlier. The sign, I guess, isn't out of the norm for the area. There are McDonald's, let's see, who else? Firestone, Marjorie's, the King Car Wash directly next door. They actually have full animation. That's not what we're looking for, but once again, the type of illumination, the type of technology is allowed. We're just looking for that ability. Plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. Once again, business has been here forever. Those signs have been here forever. If we were forced, I guess, through this upgrade to remove all the other signs on the property, that would create a hardship due to the fact that we would lose the identification. And this is a unique business for the fact that we have the canopy, then we have the main building. The canopy, while it's not a building per se, it does provide a lot of identification and a lot of notification to the motoring public on Cass, which I drove multiple times today, 40 miles an hour. People don't drive 40 miles an hour on Cass. I kind of wish they did, because I was trying to navigate through Cass and it was somewhat difficult. So this advanced notification of the speedway is extremely helpful, especially before you get to the intersection. The variation, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. Once again, a lot of other businesses have signs just as we're asking for tonight. It's a commercial corridor. Motoring public expects to see this type of signage in a commercial corridor. The signs won't be visible to any residential or residentially zoned property, and the property or the signs themselves, as they are now, will not change. The only thing that will change is this small panel that's literally just a text change. And if anything, we're, I believe, reducing the possibility for confusion by taking out 3 pieces of information and taking it down to 2. Right now, I think the sign's extremely cluttered as it is with the 3 prices, and especially since it's not a very large sign itself as is, and it's very difficult to read from any amount of distance. By taking it down to 2 pieces of information, I believe it'll be a benefit. If you have any questions.
Okay. Will anybody from the audience speak on this issue, either for or against? We'll close public comment. We'll start with Commissioner Pill, if you would.
Thank you. I agree with you. Fundamentally, this is very little change that you're asking for. I support it as your request is made, and I appreciate the nice pictures and everything you gave us in the packet. Made it very easy to understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Anton?
Yeah, I think the days are long gone of a gas price staying solid for a week even. So that go up and down, I think that makes sense, and you're not asking for anything. I support it too. Thanks.
Okay. Commissioner Fleet?
I think a lot of people shop as they're rolling north on Cass to shop, and if you're sign, this will certainly make it easier to see what your prices are, and buyer can make a decision, and well before they get to the station. So I would support this.
Thank you.
One of the questions I had is, if you were to take, how much of a hardship would it be if you were to lose the 2 signs that comprise just the letter S in the rear of the canopy? You still have your Speedway sign on the front of the canopy, on the front corners.
That's something I can definitely take that back to the, I guess, to the station owner. Right now, that's basically, other than the word Speedway, that's our only logo identifier on the property. I know that Speedway believes strongly in maintaining the logo identification. It's something I can take back, but I guess with the removing of the sign and having to patch and paint, we're I guess, creating more work than that I think we were initially looking to get into. But
My other question might be towards staff. How did all these non-conforming signs get past us in the first place?
Well, I'm at a loss to explain that, Mr. Chairman. I don't know how long the Speedway gas station has been there. It could be that it even predated our sign ordinance. That's entirely possible.
I don't think the canopy has been there that long.
That, I don't know the answer to that question.
One of life's mysteries. All right, that's all I have. No further comments? Since we have a request for a variance, we will need a reading of the findings of fact.
Criteria number 1, the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations in the district in which it is located. The property currently contains 6 identification signs, 5 of which are smaller signs on the gas station canopy and a primary pylon sign. Applicant seeks to only modernize the existing pylon sign with a new LED system. Applicant is not proposing to increase the existing number of signs nor to enlarge any of the existing signs. Due to the fact that the existing signs are legal non-conforming signs, the applicant could not modernize its existing signage without this variance or without significant and costly work to remove existing signs and replace the existing pylon sign.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement.
Criteria number 2, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. The applicant is not proposing to increase the number of existing signs nor to increase the size of any existing signs. Applicant simply wishes to modernize the existing pylon sign with an LED system.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement.
The variation, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. The area in which the property is located is fully developed and highly commercial in nature. No new signs are being added by the applicant, and the proposed modernization of the pylon sign will not alter the essential character of the area.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. The findings of fact for a variance are hereby adopted. I would recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Planning and Zoning Item 09019, Item A, Zoning Code Variance Request to increase the number of allowable signs from 1 to 6.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think that well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Could we have a motion and a second, then we'll discuss the motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Anton. Questions on the motion?
I turned the next page and I saw that the next findings of fact was also for allowing the 1 to 6 signs, and I thought that A and B got reversed, but I don't believe that's the case.
It's okay.
I believe it's correct as you stated it.
It's just the heading that, in the findings of fact, that was incorrect.
Yes. My mistake.
Okay, no further comment?
Nope.
May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, item B is also a variance request. May we have readings of the findings of fact, please?
The proper criteria number 1, the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations in the district in which it is located. The property currently consists of 6 signs totaling 165 square feet. The applicant is only seeking to modernize its existing pylon sign and is not seeking to increase the gross square footage of any signage upon the property. Due to the fact that the gross square footage of signage is non-conforming, any modernization to the pylon sign would not be possible without this variance or without spending significant money to remove existing signs.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement.
Criteria number 2, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. Applicant is not seeking to increase the gross square footage of any signage upon the property and is only seeking to modernize the existing pylon sign.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement.
Criteria number 3, the variation, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. The area in which the property is located is fully developed and highly commercial in nature. No new signs are being added by the applicant, and the proposed modernization of the pylon sign will not alter the essential character of the area.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. Okay, the findings of fact for a variance are hereby adopted. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item B, zoning code variance request to increase the maximum gross square footage of signage to approximately 165 square feet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Anton. Question on the motion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Shalil, I hope I pronounced your name adequately. You have our recommendation, go before the Board of Trustees on a Thursday evening, and staff can tell you when that will be.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Planning and zoning item 09020. Tracy Valero of DJ Sports Bar, Inc., regarding the property located at 222 East Chicago for the following. Item A, zoning code variance request to permit a parking lot expansion constructed from crushed aggregate. B, zoning code variance request to permit parking spaces without drive aisle access. C, zoning code variance request to permit parking in the side yard adjoining the street. D, site and landscaping plan approval. Good evening.
Good evening. I have an opening statement, but I need to tell you my hardship first. Is that how it works?
Whichever you're more comfortable
Okay.
with.
Well, the reason I'm here is due to the Black Hawk Drive reconstruction. I'm losing approximately 13 parking spaces that were on the street parking, basically, and that's about 25% of my parking, so I think that will cause a problem. And here's my opening statement. My name is Tracy Valerio. I've been a Westmont business owner and resident since 1993. I have always been very active with the Chamber of Commerce and Rotary Club, serving on both boards for many years. There are too many events to mention, but I always support community organizations, either by attending the event or donating to them. I feel very connected to this town, and I support anything that helps its success. I appreciate the support Westmont has always given me over the years, and it hasn't been easy. The building I own was built in 1917, 4 years before even Westmont became a village. That in itself is a challenge, but over the past 4 years, I have especially had many hardships. Chicago Avenue was under construction for over a year, and just when I get back on my feet, the economy takes a dive. No matter what people say about bars not being affected by the recession, I'm here to tell you that they are. Now, during this recession, Black Hawk Drive is basically closed for a much-needed storm sewer project, which has another negative impact on my business. And to top it off, in order for the state to pay for projects such as Black Hawk Drive, the liquor tax increased substantially on September 1st. So I'm here today to ask for your help. I will be losing about 13 parking spaces, which I understand never belonged to me, but that doesn't make them any less important to me, my employees, and my customers. The only solution I have come up with is to expand my parking lot into my grass area with gravel to allow parking there. As you know, right now it is a mound of grindings from Black Hawk Drive. Out of the last 8 years, approximately 3 years of that, the grass was removed to be used as a staging area for building the Habitat for Humanity homes, Chicago Avenue construction, and now Black Hawk Drive construction. I have always given this space to whoever needed it for no charge, and now I need it to use for my business. My neighbors on each side would be the most affected by this change, and I have received a letter from each stating their support. I appreciate your consideration, and hopefully I can answer any questions you have.
Okay. Is there anybody from the audience who will speak on this issue? We'll close the public comment. We'll start with Commissioner Fleet.
Oh, Ms. Valero, so 13 spots is what you've lost due to the work, and those are permanent losses?
Yeah, well, I haven't actually lost them yet, but yes, there'll be sidewalks and grass once they're done. Right now, it's gravel, and when they're finished, there'll be a sidewalk and grass and a curb.
Okay, and then ultimately, where the large mound of dirt is where you would hope to?
Yes, the area that is now, I don't know if you drove past it to see, they have it fenced off. That is all grass normally. When they came to do their work, they asked for, if they could borrow the property, and they got permission and took that grass out and put the grindings on. But that's the space. It's no bigger than that.
And have you Has staff worked with Ms. Valero on this, and where does staff stand?
Well, yes, Commissioner, we've had a number of discussions with Ms. Valero, and we understand her plight in the fact that, parking spaces that were partially in the village right-of-way, now that there's going to be a defining curb on the reconstructed Black Hawk Drive, are going to be lost to her. In other words, she can't have patrons park perpendicular to the building on what would be the east side, I guess, because now they'll be hanging over a 6-inch curb that's there for safety in terms of sidewalk protection and also for stormwater control. We have encouraged her, although it's very easy for us to say because we're not the ones with the checkbook that would have to do this, to do an engineered hard surface parking lot to the rear that would handle stormwater in an effective manner and divert it the way it's supposed to be, or else, contain it on the property and release it at a pre-engineered rate so that it wouldn't exacerbate what we know are existing stormwater issues in this particular part of the village. Now, again, we say that's very easy for us to say because we're not the ones that have to pay for that. That's a lot more expensive than just throwing down some gravel and saying, now I've got some more parking area. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is that we have had a series of 4 public stormwater hearings in Westmont. Neighbors are upset because we do have stormwater issues in a landlocked suburban community where much of the ground is covered up. And even though we like to think of gravel as being, less impermeable than asphalt or concrete or another engineered hard surface, why crushed gravel, according to engineering standards, is about 85% impermeable. So to cover up another significant area in what's traditionally been green space may exacerbate some stormwater issues that we have in this neighborhood not too far from this particular location. Again, the solution is to do an engineered hard surface as required by village code, but that's very expensive, and we understand why the petitioner does not want to go in that direction.
Okay. And Tracy, you also, in the literature that we got, there's something about additional gravel put down without authorization. Where is that on your?
I don't know. I'm not aware of any of that. So I would need to see a picture if that is the case. I didn't change anything since I bought it, 1993.
I would presume why, that it's the existing village property, which is not gravel.
Okay.
Commissioner, I think it's, in looking at some old satellite photos, it appears that the line has moved. This could be, normal expansion of gravel that has occurred over time without anybody intentionally adding it.
I don't have any additional questions at this particular time. I'd like to pass over to the next commissioner.
We'll come back to you. Commissioner Anton?
Okay. I got an earful, so I want to go through this. You pay taxes in this town?
I do.
Good for you. I went and looked at the pile back there. Does anybody think that, let me go further. Is there going to be curbs down Black Hawk all the way?
Yes.
Oh, good. And are we responsible for that pile that's in the back of that property right now, or is it the state or county?
Is a contractor working for the village of Westmont. I believe, I won't speak for Tracy, I don't know if she gave permission for them to use that. She was not obligated to do that.
Okay, because I know because contractors leave areas in disarray. As soon as they're done with their work, they're gone. See ya, goodbye. And if they were going to put sod down, possibly, they're not going to water it. I guarantee they won't come back and water it one time. It's going to be brown and just junk. So I'm walking around there, I'm looking at this, and I talk to Tracy, and I see what's going on, and to me, there's a lot of alarms going off, because business trying to make it in this time, and she's losing spots, and we're not making any effort to say, go here, take a couple extra spots, or go another row in to take up that space that she's losing. We're just going about and saying, you're SOL, and I don't agree with that. I think that that's going to be a mess when they get out of there. And if a business owner is willing to do a berm in there and make it look good, and a neighbor, I talked to the neighbor, and they're happy about that, making it look nice on the one side, and then the strip mall on the other side is I didn't talk to them, but there's a letter, I guess.
I do have letters. I didn't
There's a
make
letter.
enough copies for everybody, but I have a letter from each.
Right. And I just think when this is left, when this is gone, and they clear out, and they've got an uneven surface here, if she's willing to spend money to put some improved surface across there and drain it out to an area drain, which I believe is going to be towards the east. And by her drawing, and I walked it, shows they're going to try and get out to where there's a drain here to the side. If someone's going to put any effort into this at all, I know we won't. I know the contractor won't. And if anybody wants to challenge me on that, I'll go out there and watch the contractor, 'cause that's what I do. And I'll see what they do to that area there. I don't think they're going to do anything. And if this business owner is going to try and do that, I think that's a great thing. Because no one wants to spend any money now, and she's losing some spots there, so I don't know what to say. I've got 1,000 questions here. She's already answered a couple of them. Spaces lost, 13. Neighbors are okay. Who's the contractor hired by? And it seems Westmont, as Fred said, is hired by us. So in other words, we're holding the bag if they leave, and then it's an ugly sight at the end, and then who's going to clean it up? And if we tell her no, that she can't improve it a little bit, that means we have to take care of it.
Well, if the contractor doesn't clean up the site and meet our restoration standards, we have bonds on file and letters of credit that we will pull to ensure that that work is restored to its original condition.
And we know how that goes, too. I mean,
I think we have almost a universal record of achievement in that regard
okay.
for
All right.
village projects.
Okay. I don't know. I don't see how there's a big issue. I mean, like you said, Fred, you said that would someone want to put in storm drains and an asphalt parking lot? I think we all would. I mean, I think everybody who builds new would. But I know what it costs. I've got a $600,000 project going up in Schaumburg for a parking lot, and that's huge money. It's a lot of money.
Just so you know, I would love to have a paved parking lot. I mean, for one, a woman with, you can't see, but with heels on, it's very difficult to walk on gravel with heels. And I would like to appeal to the female, patrons to come in, and I think that it would increase my business if I had a paved parking lot. 2 years ago, I looked into it when Chicago Avenue was being done because I thought possibly the guys who were using my lot for free might cut me a deal, and the deal they cut was $125,000. I couldn't afford it then, and I can't afford it now, but that is where I'm going. I would love to have a paved parking lot, and I'm grateful.
Just for the front half, or was that for the whole thing?
The whole thing. Because it's kind of, you have to do the whole parking lot, then there's going to be the detention areas or retention areas, so it's not completely all asphalt, but my entire space would be covered one way or the other, either with the grass that's required or asphalt. And anyway, that's where I'm headed, and I'm grateful that when I bought the building in '93, it wasn't required then, because I probably would have had to walk away from the sale, because at that point all my finances were tied up in the bar, and if you would have told me then I had to do it, I probably wouldn't be here today. So I am headed towards that way. I know it's been 16 years, and it sounds like I'm never going to get there, but that's my goal, is to have a paved parking lot. So.
Well, and minimally, my opinion on this whole thing, minimally, is that she should get 13 spots out of this. And if she wants to spend money to clean it up, that's great. In the interim, she's going to try and grow and get better, get some asphalt down, maybe get some underground done, and be able to do that in the future. The board is here to help businesses, help the trustees get a grip on what's happening and what we think is right. I don't speak out on a lot of things, but I just think that if you want a business to stay, we always hear about revenue, taxes, downtown. We got vacancies. I would hate to see someone who's given to the community, in some cases there. And I was informed of how much. I didn't even know that you've done Rotary and all that stuff. I think that's great. Anything you can do is always helpful for the community. I think she's not asking for a lot, and to do some of this in the intern, because when they walk away, if they throw some grass down, who knows how it's going to turn out, okay? You can always try and hold a contractor or whatever, but, someone wants to spend some money in town, especially like on my street. If some of these other houses on my street would just spend a little bit of money on paint and doing some of their work, cleaning some of their windows, I'd be appreciative, because the value of the city goes up. And I don't know, I don't hear a lot of problems coming out of there. I didn't talk to the police department, but I don't hear a lot of problems coming out of the bar and grill. And I don't know, I just think we could do a little bit for this situation, considering everything that's been done and how that's been like a wayward spot for contractors to dump all their equipment, or like right now, it's a huge pile. It's like 15 feet high. I walked around and the silt fence is bulging over. Everything's falling all over the place. So, I don't know, I'm for this to be not so drastic here. I don't know how we can go about this in a way of cutting this down, but I don't think we have to go through all this. I mean, this isn't a witch hunt. We're not trying to, I don't know, make someone leave the community as a business. I think we should work on this and maybe get her to be able to take care of getting 13 more spaces, taking care of some landscaping, they're making it look good, and working with someone in the community who's obviously invested. I know you had a stand at the Taste of Westmont. So that was good, because I know one time a couple of years ago, we were down on stands, now we have a lot. Hey, I think that's great. I think it's great that everybody helps everybody out.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Commissioner Pill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In concept, I agree with Commissioner Anton. Tracy, question for you. Did you volunteer your space for all of those people to use then for the Habitat for Humanity?
Yes.
And for the Chicago Avenue?
Yes.
I don't know where the nearest other dumping area would have been, and staging area perhaps, but it could have inflated prices and things like that even, and perhaps that helped keep things a little bit lower for those of us who are residents of Westmont also. Having been in the similar situation with a parking lot expansion, I know just how expensive they are. I ended up with underground retention, and that was probably 70% of the cost of my parking lot expansion. So I know how expensive it could be, and as a small business owner, it can be tough to fund that. There is a trade-off here that Commissioner Anton didn't bring up, and that is on the east side, there is going to be grass replaced where there's never been grass before. So there is somewhat of a trade-off where we're going to get some stormwater drainage. If quote, grassed area is the big drainage area, we're going to pick up a strip of grass going the length of that property, maybe with the exception of the back entrance. That's going to then absorb some water that never did before because it's all been gravel along that whole east side. We're also going to have sewers where there never have been any in that area, so that's going to help enhance that area. And I believe in my conversation with you and the neighbors that there had not been any incidents of flooding on your property or the ones immediately adjacent to your property in your knowledge. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, one of the things that I was having a little bit of a problem with was the drive aisle. And because I understand why drive aisle is necessary for emergency procedures, particularly for fire and ambulance egress. And when I was over at the site, I realized that the building is really a relatively small building, and it's located right on the corner, right up to the front corner. And really three sides of that building, the back, front, and the east side, there's not a question of egress. And that only leaves the west side. And most of the west side is available from Chicago Avenue. I mean, if you have a fire truck, they're going to stop right out there anyway. And they're probably not going to pull into the parking lot. They're going to be right by the front door, or they're going to be right on the sides. So while I know that there would not be the 24-foot drive aisle, because it'd be very difficult to mark any of that on a gravel parking lot, it's still going to go ahead. And because of the smallness of the building and the fact that it's all the way up to the front, and it's right at two streets, you've got plenty of egress and accessibility for emergency vehicles, police, fire, ambulance, et cetera. I think that the berm is a good idea, and I think if the neighbors support it, that's very important also. I'm glad to see that you have that in writing, and maybe something you may want to give to the commissioner so he makes it a part of the record. I think if there's any type of compromising that needs to be done here, it might be something where perhaps you have the berm and maybe an additional 10-foot of grass or something that would still give you more than the 13 spots. I was having trouble understanding from the write-up where the additional gravel came from. You said you didn't know, and Fred, you weren't, I don't know if you were really sure. You had relayed some pictures and stuff, but I can tell you that in gravel lots, I haven't had one for a long time, and I know there's not a lot of them left. But in gravel lots, when you snow plow them in the wintertime, sure, a lot of times the gravel gets wrapped up in the snow, and typically I would imagine they would push that snow up into the grass area, because you wouldn't want to put it on the two street areas, and the other side is up against the strip mall's parking lot. So that's probably where it went. Now in the spring when it melts, that gravel then deposits and resettles there. I would also assume that on an annual or biannual basis, you would probably want to go ahead and put a little gravel down just to re-level the parking lot, because you do get ruts and things like that from plowing and from cars. And if that's the case, it's not really, it's not making it bigger, but it does put a little more stone down, which in the next plowing season then further exasperates the situation and might expand a little. That might be a plausible reason for why it may look like that from satellite photos. But that seems to be, to me, in the normal course of business for a small business. I appreciate all the things you've done in the way of volunteer work and charity work. I've served with you on the chamber board before. And I know you're the past president, I think last year or the year before, the Rotary. And those are things which you're to be commended for. There's not enough people who volunteer, and those that do really add a dimension to our town, I think, and your business does also. I also don't see a line of people waiting to develop that corner and do something else with it. Because if somebody else comes in there and does something, they would face these same costs and things like that. So, and I'm not even asking for you to sign something and say, hey, you're going to go ahead and pave this in 5 years. If that's your goal, I know what you've done with the building, and you've enhanced the outside of the building, and it looks better than it did in the last 10 years. And I know that that would be your goal. The parking lot was very smooth, and to me it was safe. And I think with the street coming in, the streetscape now on your east side, you've got a nice streetscape on the south side. I think that's just a further enhancement for you down the road. I support these variances in the way they're written right now. I have no further questions.
You know, one thing I can see that, again, I too agree what my fellow commissioners have said, and further looking at this, and possibly some things to alleviate safety concerns would be some signage, something along the lines of, you know, no double parking or no double stacking of cars or things like that, so that if an emergency vehicle has to get in that area, as Commissioner Pill pointed out, the way the building's situated, probably everything would just pull up on that corner of Black Hawk and Chicago, or not Chicago, yeah, Chicago, and take care of everything from there. But if anything had to get around, that if it was kept open by customer goodwill, paying attention to the signage, that would help alleviate some of the safety concerns about getting
Absolutely, I
something
could work
back
with
there.
the fire department or whoever, fire, police, whoever you think, and make sure that
Yeah.
everything's.
Or in case, heaven forbid, something happens to a customer in the yard, and a vehicle has to get back to where the customer is.
Right.
To provide, and if things were kept open, even though we have gravel, but through signage and reminding your patrons
Right.
of that sort of thing.
I don't think that's a problem now. That the drive really is pretty stated, and I've never had a problem myself being there and saying, why did this car park in the middle? I mean, it's a border. Everyone parks, right now it's like a border. So, but signs definitely don't hurt, so.
That's all I have.
Okay, you alluded to some letters that, would you please give them to Mr. Kimball so they could be entered into the record, if you would? Fred, could I ask a question? How many parking spaces are required? I'm not finding.
I think it's 27.
Is it?
27, it's on page 4, top.
Yeah, a requirement, okay, I missed that. How many parking spaces can fit on your existing gravel parking lot now?
37 cars.
Can fit on the existing gravel parking space you have right now?
Right, well, that includes the village property that we park on the east side of the building that I'm losing. That's 13 spots.
That includes that.
That's that.
Yeah.
So you're down to 24, you're short 3. The gravel space on Chicago Avenue, is that parked upon?
Gravel?
Would normally be the parkway on
No.
Chicago Avenue in front of your building?
No, because there's a sidewalk.
Okay, it's not shown here.
It just,
I didn't notice it when I was
2
there
years ago, when
today.
they redid Chicago, they put a sidewalk in.
Okay.
That survey's probably old.
Yeah. I didn't walk around the front of the place today.
On the aerial photo, I think the Google Map photo and the write-up, I think, on page 2, I think the sidewalk is visible.
Fred, how are we doing on stormwater, and what is the condition of, now I'm hearing that there's no problem in this immediate area for flooding, stormwater? Where do you stand up on the meetings?
We have, all 4 of the stormwater public hearings have been conducted and completed. And the engineering firm, which is the consultant, Christopher Burke Engineering, is now assembling the data, and they're going to do topographic aerial photographic mapping of the village of Westmont to determine elevations, actual elevations, as soon as the leaves fall off of the trees. They hope to have a completed, detailed study in the hands of the Westmont Village Board in the first week of December.
And can I just say, I'm assuming there's going to be 24 spots left. I don't know how far up they're, on the east. So my parking that goes from west to east, I'm not really sure how many cars are going to fit there, because I don't really know.
Well, being gravel, you really can't count. I mean, you got to estimate.
People are really good. When you drove by, if we had any customers today, which if you drove by, no, not today.
There's only one black car in
Yeah.
the back of the building when I was
Yeah,
there today.
that's pretty typical these days, but maybe on a Friday night, everyone is real good about parking right next to each other, so I would be able to count, but I just don't know how far east I can go. So 24 may be, I know there won't be more than 24.
Ms. Valerio, if you were to eliminate that berm on the north end of your, what I'm going to call the asphalt stockpile now,
Yes?
adjacent to the, and if you were to put a fence, privacy fence across there,
There is a
that end,
fence.
you could probably gain, how many foot of depth would you say is being taken up by that berm?
Probably, I'm going to guess 5 feet in, I'm guessing. But however, the berm, I want there to buffer sound from the resident that lives there and, car door slamming. So it's kind of not just for privacy, it's also for sound. So,
Well, 5-foot depth on a berm that's going to rise 4 feet, that's going to be fairly steep. I think you're going to find that you would need a wider berm than that.
okay,
I'm talking the depth of the berm from south to north.
right, that's what I'm guessing is 5 feet of space.
It would
But
be
I would
more.
actually have to ask
It'd
my
be like 10
landscaper.
feet, probably be like 10 feet wide.
10,
at least.
I could
10 feet
imagine
deep?
every
It's
bit,
gotta be, yeah, it's gotta be 3 to 1. You're gonna lose that's a whole row of parking across.
okay,
yeah.
Right.
okay. But that's what I need to do for my neighbor though, because
I could understand that.
they've put up with the lot so far.
I'll tell you what I have a problem with. One is, I don't have a problem with parking in the side yard adjoining the street. If you were to go right up to the sidewalk, or, 2 to 3 feet short of it with the bumpers, the concrete bumpers, so I would not have a problem with that. But for a site and a landscaping plan, I'm really not seeing much that's required. Fred, don't we need something on the west side of the property between the shopping center?
Well, I think the village planner did include in the write-up that, yes, in addition to the waiver of the hard engineered surface requirement, we also do have, buffering landscaping requirements for parking lots now.
And I'm not seeing that met on this for a site and landscaping.
4-foot wide vegetated planting strips surrounding the lot is required on new
I
parking
can
lot construction.
empathize, let me ask you this now, the existing parking lot up to the silt fence is legal since it's maybe non-conforming, but it's legal, it's existing, correct, John?
Yes.
The gravel parking lot. So we're just talking underneath the existing asphalt pile now.
But isn't the question that if you touch that, then you lose the non-conforming for the other part?
Guess that's a matter of interpretation if it's considered a site improvement.
That's how I read it into this, I mean,
We've typically said if it's considered a site improvement, that any other nonconformities would have to be cured or you need a variance for them. So I guess when you look at the way this is published, it permits the expansion constructed from crushed aggregate, would also encompass, or would constitute an acknowledgement that there is crushed stone on the existing parking lot.
well, it's because it was deposited there. It's Black Hawk Avenue relocated.
Maybe I misunderstood your question.
Well, I think you're talking about the big pile, right?
Correct.
Right. So if you touch the big pile, that affects then everything to the south of it?
Oh, the big pile is just a temporary storage.
That's going to go away.
No, he means the land underneath it,
The land
John. If you
underneath.
improve that with a parking lot.
Right?
Because they removed the grass, so there's nothing underneath it right now. I mean, eventually you're just gonna get down to regular dirt, right?
Sure.
When they take that out of there. So then the choice is, what do? They plant grass. Is that what they do?
Yeah, seed.
Village's contractor will have to restore the property.
So if they plant grass there, then she's okay just leaving the front part just like it is.
Sure.
But if they do anything other than plant grass, whether it's her, I guess it'd be at her request, then that affects the front half, or does it not?
Well, that's the question.
I don't think so. I don't think, staff certainly didn't take that interpretation.
But I think the problem is she's losing 13 spots, and she wants to try and regain those spots in that area where that pile is now. What I've taken out of the whole thing is that she's losing 13 spots because of the building on Black Hawk or the reconstruction on Black Hawk. And what she's trying to gain is 13 spots back, or whatever the number is, it's going to really work it out to have enough parking for the bar. And that's basically it.
And it
Yes.
probably won't be 13, just so
Can you
know.
park on grass?
No.
Stan,
Not
another way
according
of
to
looking at it, you say she's losing 13 spots,
Yes.
but these are 13 spots that do not belong to her in the first place.
But 13 spots she's taken care of since 1993,
I can understand
and
that.
counted on them for the business.
I
That's
can
what
understand that, but it
that's what I-
still does not belong to her.
No, that's true. That's true, but you
No,
you could also say that, I'm not gonna participate in the community and not give up my spot for other people to benefit from, and then also, stay or go. I mean, we're always talking about filling up spaces in town, always. This is an existing business that's surviving, and my theory on the whole thing is help out the business. And
This is somewhat of an expansion, really, in keeping the type of parking the same in a way.
Yeah,
Parking lots being expanded in the format that it's already designed in, which is gravel in this
exactly.
case.
So you're not going half and half, you're not going half asphalt, asking for something else, you're just trying to continue and really move the shuffle, the nuts around to make sure that it's even.
All right, then, from what I'm hearing from Mr. Kimball from staff, is that asphalt is considered 85% impervious.
Gravel.
Gravel is.
Gravel, I'm sorry,
Compacted
gravel,
stone, yes.
gravel.
Asphalt's 100.
So I'm really not seeing anything on stormwater retention then,
No.
which is a requirement. To be honest with you, is I think before I can really vote on this, I need some more answers. I think I need a little better plan with some more homework done on this before I can make an intelligent vote myself, either up or down. But as it stands right now, I wouldn't have any trouble with the variance in the side yard adjoining the street. But,
I don't think there is any stormwater retention here, that's the point.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's a
what I'm
requirement.
asking for, kind of.
and I'm not seeing a variance requesting that. That's not published.
Well, we don't require variances from stormwater detention, I don't believe, because it's not a zoning code issue. That's something that engineering will have to look at and see if it's sufficient or not. Now, one thing the applicant could do is with the, was it a 4 or 5 foot of green space that's supposed to border a parking lot? Could put grass in, certainly on the west side, a grass strip, shrink the available parking area, but that would provide some stormwater detention.
Well,
You're
it
gonna
does,
pick it
not
up
not
on the east.
detention, but allows a pervious area.
Pervious area.
Detention doesn't necessarily have to be the expensive underground storage tank. You can put curb around the perimeter of your parking lot and let it fill up during an extremely heavy rain incident and then release it at a controlled rate. Now, that's, not our most desirable means of stormwater detention, but it does meet the code requirements.
You're also picking up a grass strip on the east side that was never there, because there'll be grass all the way down Blackhawk.
Part of the village building.
Well, that's part of the village.
Right.
But it's grass in that same, it's draining the same, that's where cars were parked, in other words.
Where cars were parked illegally, you may be argued.
You think they were they? They were parked illegally all these years?
Well, if that's the village property,
No one has ever said, I honestly thought it was my property. I know I should know better, but I don't know how to read a plat of survey, so when I bought the place, I thought that was included, and I've gotten citations from the village because the weeds got too big for me to, take care of the weeds in the front. So I think everyone pretty much thought that it was my property. Otherwise, why would they be giving me the violations? So I always took care of the weeds and took care of the salting in the winter and plowing, and then every spring threw down more gravel because, as I think Greg said, once they plow it, it becomes a big pile in the side of the building, and then they have to spread that back out again. So I apologize, I had no idea that I was doing that illegally.
Well, and this is quite common in areas where we didn't have curb and guttered streets, where we have oil and chip type roads. Many downstate communities have that throughout virtually their entire community, and you don't have any defining curb and gutter, which tells everybody with a visual cue where is the right-of-way. I can assure you that the Public Works Department knew exactly where the village right-of-way line was, even if the private property owner adjacent to that right-of-way did not. We know what the depth of our right-of-way is, and we knew that not only this business, but many individual residences were parking cars in the village right-of-way, but because there was no curb and gutter there, it was just kind of overlooked and allowed to continue these years.
likewise, could it be argued then that instead of on the north end of the new parking lot, underneath what's presently the asphalt pile, if you were to put a fence up there with a heavy planting of evergreens, and I'm talking already some fairly mature trees that might be 6 foot tall, could effectively be as much of a sound deadening, and
That would be fine.
you
There
would
is a
still be
fence.
able to.
There is a fence. It doesn't go all the way to the street, but there is a fence that at least goes up to the edge of their house. Their driveway is still open, but I mean, I can extend it, or I could do a different fence, whatever. I'm willing to do whatever you guys need me to do. So a fence and the bush of your choice is fine with me.
Secondly, I would raise the question then, if we were to vote for this variance, what kind of a precedent are we going to be setting?
Well, I'll give you my canned response, which is every case is analyzed on a case-by-case basis based on its unique facts. No two cases are typically identical. So another property owner could cite this and say, you allowed gravel. I've got a similar economic hardship. I can't afford to do a new asphalt driveway. I just want to throw a stone down. Look what you did for DJs. And the village in response can say, look at the unique circumstances surrounding this. They were parking in the public right-of-way, lost 13 spaces, et cetera, and try and distinguish this case from that case. So it does cut both ways, but it is a precedent to some extent.
Chairman.
Yes, please.
And what she's asking on A, B, and C, I think we're pretty much in agreement, it seems like. I think the site landscape plan approval, we should adjust that then. If that's the case, let's ask for the green space on the west side and then trees and a fence. in
Did
lieu-
you get the impression we were all on
Sure, I sure seemed that way to me.
oh, okay. It depends which chair you're sitting in, I guess.
For right now, yeah, exactly.
I did not get that impression. Please, Mr. Pill.
Mr. Chairman, there is, just to reiterate, there is a fence already back there by that first home. And it's a nice fence, and it comes out roughly to the end of the house. I'm not sure, I don't know if Mr. Kimball or if Attorney Zemanek would know, but I don't know if that fence can be extended any further, because then we get into the fence ordinances. So you might not be able to do that.
We only allow 4-foot-high fences, solid fences in the front side yard of a
the
business
front
or a
side yard. There we go.
residence, yeah.
So
I think it's higher than 4 feet, though.
well, because it's not in the front side yard, it's in the back side yard at that point.
But you could have a planting.
Or the
Yes.
berm,
Yes.
or the combination of berm.
Or
with
the berm.
planting, right.
All right, have we talked this thing to death? Any further questions? Okay, since we have a variance, quite a few of them, I would need a reading of the findings of fact, if we would, please.
Criteria number 1, the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations in the district in which it is located. As a result of right-of-way improvements to Black Hawk Drive adjacent to the property will lose 13 parking spaces that had been located in the public right-of-way. In order to accommodate this loss of parking spaces, the applicant wishes to expand its existing parking lot with a new parking area consisting of crushed stone. The current parking lot upon the property consists of crushed stone and pre-existed the ordinance requirements for an asphalt or concrete parking surface. It would be a great expense to the applicant to install a new paved parking area, and the applicant's business is dependent upon having adequate parking spaces for its customers.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. 3 commissioners in agreement. Chairman Richard does not agree.
Criteria number 2, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. This parking lot expansion and variance request would not be necessary were it not for the Black Hawk Drive improvements, which will result in the loss of 13 parking spaces currently within the public right-of-way.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. 3, 4, chairman against.
Criteria number 3, the variation, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. The existing parking lot upon the property is gravel, and the expanded gravel parking lot, if permitted, will not alter the essential character of the area.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. Again, 3 commissioners in favor, chairman against. Okay, the findings of fact for a variance to permit a parking lot expansion are hereby adopted. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Planning and Zoning Item 09020, Item A, zoning code variance request to permit a parking lot expansion constructed from crushed aggregate.
So moved?
Second.
That's motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by Commissioner Pill. Question on the motion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
No. Okay, since we have another variance request, we need a reading of the findings of fact, please.
Criteria number 1, the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations in the district in which it is located. As a result of the right-of-way improvements to Black Hawk Drive adjacent to the property will lose 13 parking spaces that had been located in the public right-of-way. In order to accommodate this loss of parking spaces, the applicant wishes to expand its existing parking lot with a new parking area consisting of crushed stone which will match the existing parking lot. This variance is necessary because it is impossible for the applicant to designate drive aisle markings on a crushed stone parking lot. It would be a great expense to the applicant to install a new paved parking area, and the applicant's business is dependent upon having adequate parking spaces for its customers.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. 3 commissioners in favor, Chairman Knott.
Criteria number 2, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. This parking lot expansion and variance request would not be necessary were it not for the Black Hawk Drive improvements, which will result in the loss of 13 parking spaces currently within the public right-of-way. The applicant cannot mark a drive aisle on a crushed stone parking lot.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement.
Criteria number 3, the variation, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. The existing parking lot upon the property is gravel, and the expanded gravel parking lot, if permitted, will not alter the essential character of the area.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. 3 commissioners in favor, Chairman against. Okay, the findings of fact for a zoning code variance request to permit parking spaces without driveway aisle access are hereby adopted. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item B, zoning code variance request to permit parking spaces without drive aisle access.
So moved.
Second.
That's motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by Commissioner Pill. Question on the motion. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. I'm sorry, I have to change my vote. I was thinking different. No.
Okay, Chairman Richard?
Chairman Richards votes no. Okay, we have another variance request. May we have a reading of the findings of fact, please?
Criteria number 1, the property in question cannot yield a reasonable return if permitted to be used only under the conditions allowed by the regulations in the district in which it is located. As a result of right-of-way improvements to Black Hawk Drive adjacent to the property will lose 13 parking spaces that had been located in the public right-of-way. In order to accommodate this loss of parking spaces, the applicant wishes to expand its existing parking lot with a new parking area consisting of crushed stone, which will extend into the side yard adjoining a street. The applicant must provide sufficient parking for its customers and cannot yield a reasonable return if additional parking is not allowed within the side yard adjoining a street.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement.
Criteria number 2, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. This parking lot expansion and various requests would not be necessary were it not for the Black Hawk Drive improvements, which will result in the loss of 13 parking spaces currently within the public right-of-way.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. Unanimous in agreement.
Criteria number 3, the variation, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. The existing parking lot upon the property is gravel, and the expanded gravel parking lot, if permitted, will not alter the essential character of the area. Parking previously occurred within the public right-of-way.
If you agree with this, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. The findings of fact for parking in the side yard adjoining a street are hereby adopted. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item C, zoning code variance request to permit parking in the side yard adjoining the street.
So moved.
Second.
That's motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Anton. Question on the motion? A roll call, please.
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item D, site and landscaping plan approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Anton. Question on the motion?
Yes. We had
Commissioner
several
Bill.
discussions about this, so was your recommendation to add pine trees to this also?
Yes, I feel
Sort of beef it up a little bit? I could see that also.
I feel the site plan is inadequate the way it is with, it has to meet what I would like to see village code for what's on the.
For that back
Would be
wall.
the north side, the west side. If we're gonna do parking on the, in the side yard adjoining a street, I can't see, I can't see any landscaping there. So if we do, John, if we approve this, what we have here, which I feel is a little inadequate, can it be straightened out at the village board?
Yes, you can, I would recommend, as you've done in the past, a separate motion after you vote on this item with whatever additional matters you'd like to see appear on the site plan.
Okay. Okay, I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees, site and landscaping plan approval.
Can we do that?
I've already,
We already did that. We need to
I've
call a
already made the
roll.
motion, and he's already seconded it.
Oh,
Yes.
we have had our second
Motion
already.
and second?
I apologize.
We're up for roll call.
Yes, roll call, please.
Chairman Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, if it's the board's discretion, then I would entertain a motion to recommend that the site and landscaping plan meet the current village requirements for landscaping.
So moved.
That's on just the north and west side of the new
Which would
portion?
primarily be the north, well, would you want to carry it all the way down to the southern lot line, Chicago Avenue? Or just the area that's being developed?
Yeah. It's hard to call.
Without knowing what that dimension is.
Yeah, what is the dimension on Blackhawk? I mean, that's gonna be taken care of already, and then what's on Chicago?
That's a good question. Now, if we were to, the existing gravel parking lot, that's legal now, legal non-conforming use, adjacent to the building, would that have to have landscaping all the way down to Chicago?
Only if the village board says so when they approve the landscaping plan.
There's already a border there, there's a fence there, the cars park right up to, if I
Right.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then there's a big border between.
Part of
the-
the fence is knocked down, but.
Right, I think the fence should be probably fixed or something, but past that fence, there's a pretty big, I parked on the other side, there's a pretty wide grass gap there going to the curb to the
Where the
parking
big
lot.
cottonwood trees are, and
Yes.
there's an old
Whose fence
sofa
is
back
that?
there.
Yes, sir.
Is that your fence between the strip mall,
No, that's Lou Pranos?
the strip mall owner?
Yes,
So that grass on the other side of the fence is his grass?
correct. And I'm a little concerned, I didn't measure the west side, but because we do have a driveway, I'm just concerned if I do a berm or whatever we're talking about on the west side, it might push the cars back into the driveway. I don't know how much room I have to do that, because originally I asked the engineer to, I wanted to do a berm
Here it's missing.
all the way
Or it's not
from
down.
Chicago to the end of my property and all the way east to Blackhawk. And he said I couldn't, if I did that, I would lose, I wouldn't, there was a problem with it. Either I would lose parking or it would push the cars into the drive.
This would not be a berm, this would be a 4-foot planting strip on the west edge of your property, at the edge of the parking lot.
But if I don't have 4 feet, the cars may be into my driveway.
Well, but I think a 4-foot planting strip would be much narrower than a berm that would be placed
Okay,
there.
okay.
So,
You see, Ms. Valerio, one of the problems we've got here, your site plan for landscaping is very ambiguous. So we're trying to help you get it firmed up and to realize that you may have to meet village codes before you go to the Board of Trustees.
Okay, I appreciate that, because then I'll be prepared for that meeting.
I think if it's just 4 feet too, you probably have the 2-foot overhang that cars could have, so it probably won't take away from the driveway. Because you
Okay.
certainly, the one thing we don't want to do is narrow the driveway, because obviously that was a site of discussion in item B.
Possibly, but like I say, with this being inadequate, as I
No,
look at it,
I
it's
just
not
didn't know,
delineated for
I
us.
didn't know if Fred was gonna say it had to be 30 feet or something. 4 feet is certainly manageable, and
Yeah.
that would probably.
That's code, that's
Yeah.
code.
Okay.
And I may have 8 feet there, I don't know,
All you need is 4, the cars could overhang it too.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so could we have a motion on that, or did we?
I kinda jumped the gun, but yeah, so
Okay.
moved.
Well, we have a motion,
For the north and for the west.
For item E, what we're going to consider
yeah,
item
for
E.
E. We had a motion second, but then we opened up discussion.
The motion
Okay,
would
who
be,
was the motion by, if I may?
Motion was by Commissioner Anton.
You.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by Commissioner Pill, so the minutes get it correct then.
correct.
Okay, no further discussion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Anton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pill,
Yes.
Chairman Richard.
Yes. Okay, staff can tell you when, Ms. Valero, you'll go before Thursday evening committee of the whole.
Okay,
And they
thank
can explain to you more in detail everything that's happened here tonight.
Okay, thanks for your
But
time.
realize you're going to have to come up with some more information.
Absolutely,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Can I request a 5-minute recess?
You're the boss.
Motion by Commissioner Pill, seconded by Commissioner Anton. All in favor?
Aye.
5-minute recess. Okay, we're back in session. Next item on the agenda, planning and zoning item 09021. Melissa Peralt of My Green Attic LLC with Greg Krasowski regarding the property located at 37 West Quincy for the following. A, special use permit request to operate a secondhand consignment shop in the B1 Limited Business District. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you tonight? Thanks for having me. I'm kind of new to all this, so my name's Melissa Peralt. I'm here tonight with my husband, Tony Lepp, who's in support. We reside in Downers Grove. We've been a longtime resident. We are here to discuss to establish a business at 37B West Quincy Street, right next door, called My Green Attic, which will be purveyors of a fine consignment home furnishing shop. I have, in my experience with my family and friends, I have helped refurnish their houses and with these type of shops and going out and finding these fine furnishings at affordable prices. I want to open up the store to, you know, obviously help the economy as well. A lot of people don't want to go out and spend a lot of money on, you know, full price furnishings. They want to come in and they want to find a nice piece of furnishing at an affordable price. I want to have an establishment which is going to be presented in a very nice and affordable way for people to come into and to show, you know, a beautiful place. I do have some pictures I can put on.
Put them on the overhead there.
To kind of give you an idea of what we're looking to, the perception of what type of furnishings and what the store atmosphere would be like. Oops, it popped out. Not sure how this.
He may do something in the booth there. Let's give him a second.
Sure. But our goal basically is to establish a long-term business here in Westmont, to have a quality business here in the for the community in the surrounding area. I plan on joining the Chamber of Commerce as soon as I get approval to be a part of the community to help, you know, make a lot of growth out here. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the home furnishing consignment stores.
Correct.
It's a good way for people to recycle their gently used furnishings. And also it's a place for people to come to find, you know, the fine furnishings at an affordable price. Sure. It's my dream to open up a beautiful consignment home furnishing store and to make it really nice for a lot of people around.
While we wait for the photos, if I may ask a question. One of the things the commission considers with the special use permit is whether there will be any adverse impact on surrounding properties. So as far as parking, lighting, noise, or hours of operation, do you anticipate any unique impacts? Such as
No, it's going to be regular business hours. We're going to be open Tuesday through Saturdays, for the exception of Thursdays being open until 6 o'clock. From 10 to basically 5 o'clock will be the hours, and then 10 to 6 on Thursdays.
Close it out by Xing that and then double click on the next one.
So you close it up there. And okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's your first picture, it's this one.
Okay, great. Okay. And this is kind of gives you a view of what type of furnishings that you will see in these type of shops, and this is the type of shop that, you know, I want to have here. And he's got this set up. I'm sorry. Not being used to this computer, my own laptop here. I apologize. I'm not used to this laptop, and it's hard for me to.
Try something here. Let's go down here and see if we can do this. Like
I'm trying to, yeah, close it out.
Let's try this. See if that takes us or not. No, that's not gonna do it.
Maybe try to go
There
back.
you go.
Okay, there we go.
So just go down
Okay,
the
so
scale
where we
all
can
the way.
go, yeah, that'll work then. So I wouldn't- These are just pictures of stores of, you know, that are kind of around the areas and other places that have, you know, the fine furnishings and, you know, the way it's presented, it's going to be a nice store. It's not going to be a store where you see everyday ordinary things. It's going to have a presentation where people are going to want to come back and they're going to want to see the different things and, you know, see what's coming in, see what's new. And you know, it's going to help with the economy, with a lot of people who are really suffering out there that really can't go out and afford to buy this kind of stuff at a furniture store. So they can bring their gently used furniture here to sell it. They might find something else that they can put in their home. But this is what I'm trying to bring in.
Okay. Does staff have any comments on this?
Not at this time, Mr.
None
Chairman.
at
I
this
think
time?
it
Okay,
speaks
let's
for
start with
itself.
Commissioner Pill, if you would. I'm sorry, I apologize. Is anybody from the public who will speak on this issue? If not, we'll close the public comment. We'll start with Commissioner Pill.
Do you charge sales tax on the purchases?
Yes.
Okay. I know that from the write-up, it looks like it's approximately 600 square feet.
Correct.
Is that enough space to adequately
Well, I think for the time
showcase?
being that we're starting out, eventually, yes, I would like to grow. If we can move into, you know, the other spot that's there eventually later on, that would be great. That's my goal, is to make this business grow and to bring in a lot of, you know, pieces where, you know, to have the people to keep coming in and, you know, have that rotated coming in and out all the time. So.
I mean, it looks very interesting from the pictures. I have to plead ignorance. I'm not familiar and haven't been in
Sure.
any
If-
shops like that.
If you
but-
go, I don't know if you're familiar with the Courtyard in Hinsdale. They're in downtown Hinsdale. That's the exact same type of
Probably
concept.
less of a guy's domain.
Yeah, it's more of a woman thing. But there are a lot of guys who do get into it.
I guess the question would be, how often do you see a turnover occurring of what's in the store? Does that happen weekly or monthly or?
I think it's going to be a trial by error at first. I mean, you're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, everybody's got different taste. You know, not everybody likes the same piece of furniture. Everybody, you know, somebody may like something that's more older, somebody might like something that's more modern, somebody might want something that's more retro. So that's why the shop that I'm going to have, it's going to have the mix of everything, and it's just going to have to see what we're going to be selling. We'll have a wish list for people, you know, if they're looking for certain things, that if something were to come in or if something comes across that, you know, you can say, well, this is what we have that, you know, you can come and look at, and looks like that's something you might be looking for your home. So
Right.
it's just going to be a variety.
Well, as a sales tax generating business, I welcome you, and you have my support, and I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ranton?
Same thing, I wish you well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fleet?
In terms of signage, in the picture we're looking at, in our handout, it shows on, looking at your front door, and I'm assuming it's marked as 37A and 37B, but you're using the whole
No,
building?
I'm using 37B.
37B only?
Correct.
Okay. So there looks like there's a remnant of a sign that's above the picture window there. What are your plans for signage?
Oh, we plan on getting a nice sign. I've already got the permit to have, or not, I don't have the permit yet, but I have the paperwork to fill out for the permit to get the sign put up there.
And would it be a lighted sign? Or-
I don't think there's a light up there at this time, so that's something I guess that would have to be added on later on, where we would have to go in for a permit, or I'm not sure how that works, quite honestly.
And possibly a question for for Mr. Kimball. In looking at the picture, the sign on the left appears like it might have been a fluorescent sign.
I believe that's
that is just up there. Is there anything that would require the landlord to clean up that sign, or?
Well, if it's determined to be in a dangerous and unsafe condition, we do require that the panels for a former store be removed within 90 days or so many, I think 60 to 90 days within the cessation of operation. So you can't have a sign identifying a business that's no longer in existence. They did pull the panels out of there, and, you know, we don't believe that the sign poses a danger in its current form. The next tenant is free to come in and order new panels and reignite the sign, assuming they apply for a sign permit.
Okay. No further questions.
When I looked at the shop this afternoon, there's a wall in the back not too far. I'm going to presume there's bathrooms in back of that?
Yes, there's a bathroom in the back.
That was my main question. Again, the length of time of a consignment is going to vary depending on the people.
It's
that
going to
are-
be, well, no, it's going to be a 90-day consignment.
Oh, a 90-day
Yeah, after
consignment?
90 days, they will have the choice to either come and pick up the piece of furniture, or they can donate it to the store, and we have charities that I've already been in contact with that we will donate to.
Again, it's, I would like to welcome you as a sales tax generating business for the village,
Thank you.
and I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a special use permit request, so if we may have a reading of the findings of fact, please.
Criteria number one, the proposed use at this location will not have any adverse effects above and beyond those inherently associated with such a special use, irrespective of its location within the zoning district. This proposed retail use is consistent with the redevelopment goals for the B1 Limited Business District. The applicant's proposed use will have no adverse parking, noise, hours of operation, or lighting impacts on surrounding properties or the public. The applicant proposes to operate a high-end resale shop as opposed to a thrift store, warehouse, or pawn shop.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. The findings of fact for a special use are hereby adopted. Under Planning and Zoning Item 09021, I would like a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees. Item A, special use permit request to operate a secondhand consignment shop in the B1 Limited Business District.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by Commissioner Pill. Any questions on the motion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, Ms. Peralta, you have our recommendation, and staff can tell you when you'll go before the committee of a whole lot of Thursday evening.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good luck to you. Planning and Zoning Item 09022, Asif Hamidi of SPA Properties regarding the property located at 14 West Naperville for the following. A, special use permit request to operate a garage in the B1 Limited Business District. I hope I was kind with this pronunciation of your
Yeah,
word.
that's fine. So, yeah, my name is Asif Hamidi, and I'm doing a business in Westmont almost 10 years. I own Marathon gas station just into that property. I'd like to apply for a special use permit on this 14 West Naperville Road. I have a potential tenant which would like to use as a auto salon, which involves car detailing and electronic, automobile electronic installations and window tinting and that kind of stuff, you know, like to do. And so I like village permission to use as a auto salon.
All right, is there anybody from the public who will speak on this issue?
They need to be sworn in.
I know. Okay, if you would please, you need to be sworn in before you give any testimony, so if you would please stand. I swear that any testimony I give this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Okay. First one, please. If you would, give us your name and sign in.
My name is Dale Cubis. I own Cubis Auto Body, adjacent neighbors west of the building. I've known both these gentlemen for many years. And I think it'd be an asset, not but just for me, but for the community, to have a little hand car wash in back of the gas station. No hazardous waste things go on in that business. It's soap and water and some wax. I think it'd be an asset. Sure beats an empty building. And I could feed them enough work to wash cars just for my own stuff, so thank you.
All right, if I may, though, and I'll ask Mr. Kimball to elaborate on the car wash.
Yeah, the car washes per se, automobile laundries, are not prohibited either by special use or permitted use in the B1 Central Business District. So I think we've talked with Asif about this, and if the operators of the garage detailing shop wanted to wash them at a remote location, bring them there, dry them, wax them, install navigational devices, install, other types of electronic devices, detail the cars, they're certainly free to do that.
But not car wash.
But not exterior car washes at that location.
I just wanted this explanation because it appears that you thought there was going to be a car wash there.
Well, you gotta wash your car before you can wax it.
Yeah. So they would have to take it to another location and wash it, bring it back, and then they could wax and detail
Yes.
it. But one of the requirements, Mr. Chairman, that is problematic for this particular property is that, number one is the zoning, as a permitted or special use, no automobile laundries. But secondly, if you do any exterior washing with the soap and water, as this gentleman has indicated, you have to have a triple pit that's installed, and I think, Mr.
That's
Hamidi,
gonna- If we use that as a car wash, then we're gonna do that.
yeah. And that's about, what, $28,000 to install that pit?
No, I
to
took
handle that?
some more estimates on that, so it's a little less than that,
Okay.
So me and if Sam, he wanted to rent that place, so if we can work it out, the
Well-
cost of that or whatever, we can do that.
Yeah, in order to do that, though, we would have to have a text amendment weave its way through both the Village Planning and Zoning Commission and the Village Board, because we'd have to change the list of permitted uses in the B1 Central Business District to allow car washes in the downtown. So if you wanted to do that, we would need to discuss the correct procedure to change the village code to allow that to happen.
Okay.
So as of right now, you understand there is no car washing there if we approve this.
Yeah. But later on, when we're ready to do that according to village code or whatever requirement, so we'll do that, so
Then you have to go through another procedure.
Yeah.
So just a clarification, as opposed to a customer just coming in and like going to one of the other mechanical car washes, just coming in off the street and say, hey, wash my car, versus somebody coming out of Mr. Kubis's shop their car's been in there for X number of days or weeks getting repaired, and then with dust and everything that gets in the car, and I've had cars a lot of cars run through Mr. Kubis's place, and they always come out nice and clean. Well, I don't know quite how he does that, but if he had a place next door to where is only servicing cars connected to another business as opposed to being open as a car wash, is there a gray area there in our definition of what a car wash is? And am I making myself clear versus, having a sign outside hand car washes versus somebody who handles cars that are coming out of an auto body shop to be detailed and then go back to the auto body shop.
I certainly understand what you're saying, Commissioner. I think the actual activity is what is regulated as a use in that location. I would defer to legal counsel in that. So whether it's advertised as such or not, if you're washing cars, that is not a permitted use in the downtown B1 district.
That's correct.
Okay.
There are lots of available properties for a car wash throughout the village, just not in the B1 district, which is the downtown area.
Yeah, any B2 district, I think, on Ogden, parts of Chicago Avenue, 63rd Street, South Cass Avenue, all are zoned appropriately for car washes.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
happy.
Okay, do you have anything else?
I don't know, you want to ask me something?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
The other gentleman, you wish to speak? If you would announce your name and sign in, please, up there.
Just go ahead and announce your name. I'll get it for the record.
My name's Sam Serlencioni.
Oh, can you spell that for me? Thanks very much.
The owner of the auto salon, been in business since 1998 in Westmont for 5 years at 20 East Chicago Avenue. We lost our lease when the old landlord sold the building off to the new owners of True Imports, moved into Clarendon Hills. Now we're losing this lease due to a foreclosure. So we're looking to come back to Westmont to do basically the same thing. I do my automotive detailing. We sell a lot of custom rims. We do a lot of stereo equipment installation. Dale does most of our paint work. You know, we don't do any paint, but you know, we do minor restoration stuff. We'll fix up an interior of a car, completely gut it, redo it. So basically what we're looking to do is move from Clarendon Hills to Westmont, possibly eventually maybe even get into the hand car wash, if that's even possible over time. So I'm kind of, that's about what we do.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else from the public who will speak on this? We'll close the public comment, and we'll start with Commissioner Fleet.
Could you please explain what needs to be done to come into compliance or in terms of with the car wash, and how much does that affect your business or your business plan for this area?
I don't know exactly about the business, you know, because he's gonna do that business. So, I mean, apart from that, you know, we the car wash, we don't have to do nothing in the building. Is already that place was auto repair shop for the years. You know, I took over as like 18, 19 months ago. You know, it was auto repair shop. You know, so there's nothing we especially have to do that. There's some. I think village inspectors was there, and there are some minor electrical problem we are gonna do, fix that, which we're gonna comply with that, you know.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay, Commissioner Anton,
I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Pill,
What are the hours of operation of the gas station?
Gas station is 5:30 to 10 p.m.
7 days a week?
Sunday is 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. In winter and summer is 9 o'clock close.
Do you know what the hours of the garage will be then?
What will be hours? 8 to 5. 8 to 5. Monday through Saturday? Friday.
I don't think that will cause any problems then for the neighborhood at all. I assume most of the work is going to be done on the inside of the garage, so there's not going to be any kinds of problems with noise or lighting or external lighting or anything for the neighbors in that general area. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
John, I have a question. If this special use, would it in essence be in perpetuity if we were to recommend approval of it?
Yes, as long as it was continually operated without cessation for 90 days or more.
90 days? Mr. Kimball, since this corner is been talked about. I know I've heard various rumors concerning it. Does staff have any idea as to long-term development of this corner, or?
Well, in fact, Mr. Chairman, we have talked with the current owner about redevelopment. I think he's still maybe a couple, 3 years away. We were all victimized by the unexpected downturn and the dramatic downturn in the economy, and I think, I won't speak for Mr. Hamidi, but he, I think, would like to redevelop when the opportunity arises.
But to your point, the village board can impose special conditions on a special use permit and can limit, put a sunset clause on a special use permit that it will only run with the current operator or will only run for a defined period of years, as long as it's reasonable.
I think that would be a great recommendation. Okay. In essence, that's the only question I have then. Does staff have no other?
We think the practice that the village attorney has just outlined of limiting the special use permit to this particular operator has merit.
Okay. Could we make that a part of our motion or just make a separate motion?
Let's do a separate motion.
Separate motion? Okay. Since we have a special use, we need a reading of findings of fact for a special use.
Criteria number 1, the proposed use at this location will not have any adverse effects above and beyond those inherently associated with such a special use, irrespective of its location within the zoning district. The property was constructed for a garage use and until recently had been used as a garage use. Applicant proposes a low-impact garage use upon the property, including detailing services and accessory installations such as GPS equipment and stereo components. The proposed use will occur within an enclosed structure and will not result in any adverse noise, hours of operation, lighting, parking, or other adverse impacts to the surrounding properties or the public. Additionally, the existing structure is best suited for a garage use and is not compatible for a retail or other use allowed in the B1 Limited Business District.
If you agree with these findings, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in agreement. The findings of fact for a special use are hereby adopted. I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees, Planning and Zoning Item 09022, special use permit to operate a garage in the B1 Limited Business District.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by Commissioner Pill. Question on the motion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. Okay, if it's the board's wish, I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Trustees, a sunset clause be added on this special use.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by Commissioner Pill. Question on the motion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Fleet votes yes. Commissioner Pill?
Yes.
Commissioner Anton?
Yes.
Chairman Richard?
Yes. All right, sir, you have our recommendation. Staff can tell you when you'll go before a Thursday evening committee of the whole.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Staff, any?
Just kind of a heads up for the Planning and Zoning Commission, Mr. Chairman. At last night's village board meeting, several of the trustees during the course of discussion, again referencing the stormwater issues and the number of variances with regard to lot coverage throughout the village of Westmont, discussed the notion of perhaps restricting further the allowable percentage of lot coverage in single-family residential districts from 40 to 35%. And I think they gave staff direction to place this on the agenda for the Village Board Building and Zoning Committee, which will meet, I believe, on September 21st, and also discuss the concept that they would like to send this back to the Planning and Zoning Commission pending a recommendation of the Building and Zoning Committee of the Village Board for further discussion and analysis. So I would anticipate that that's the course of action that will be occurring, and alert the Planning and Zoning Commission that this may be before you at some point in the not-too-distant future.
35.
Interesting.
Probably a good idea.
Wow.
More green.
Stormwater issues are hot topics in the village right now.
Well, since we've nailed down the patio problem, so this in conjunction with that, it may just be a good thing for the village. Any commissioners? Any comments? Any business? Motion to adjourn?
I'll refrain until we see the proposals.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Anton, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Pill, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.